Grabby Nation, here we come again. We're going to introduce you to another disruptor who's changing the industry. Stand by for Michael Ford.
In 2013, I coined the name Grampian, and I gave it to your host, Jim Tracy.
Hey, Jim, what's going on?
Hey, Michael, how are you, man? Welcome to the Grampian.
I'm good, my brother. I'm glad to be here. And I got to tell you, I love the name of the podcast. Being a relatively new grandfather, it is just as much fun as everybody tells you it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm not bold enough to have named myself the Grampian. My grandson Wes kind of stuck it on me, and I'm super happy that it stuck. But also, if you go all the way back to the first episode of this podcast, you'll find out why. And so
I'm going to have to do that. So I listened to a few of your podcasts before I got on here. I just wanted to get a feel for you and some of this. I was like, I'm not sure why he's got me on here. He's had some pretty interesting folks on here. Because a lot of times, I can talk about sailing because I'm a big sailor, sailed all over. But you had that dude, Turhard, man, he's got sailed around the world with a sextant. Like, okay, that's pretty legit, and I'm listening to, David Axe talk about faith and just you talking about leadership and the 7 C's. I mean, that's, some good stuff in there. And I'm like, well, hopefully I'll find something interesting to say.
Oh, man. Well, the first time I met you, I saw what's over your shoulder there. And how many Spartan races have you done?
It's probably 85 or 90.
All right. So, this is Grandpa Chats with Champion, and I'm the grandpa here and you're the champion because, man, I've never met anybody who's done that many Spartan races. So, props to you.
I'll do 10, 12 a year. Just kind of depends. Well, but sometimes I'll run 2 or 3 in one weekend. Like when they do a thing, I'll go run, several in one weekend. So kind of compress me. The last couple of years, I've got a little more competitive. My age, I'm finally old enough now that when I'm competitive, I can actually perform pretty well.
Yeah.
But I like to run, see how I do against the 25 and 30-year-olds. If I feel I'm competitive with those guys, then I'm feeling pretty good.
All right. So break it down for people because there's the Spartan Sprint, which is short for old fat people like me. But it's pretty intense, I'll tell you. And then And then the longer versions are
the Super and the Beast and the Ultra. I was supposed to do the Ultra actually this month, but had an injury. I had to get my shoulder redone, so that kind of knocked me out of doing the Ultra this year. I'll do it next year.
So tell people what an Ultra looks like.
That's 30 miles. Basically, you do a marathon in the mud and up and down the hill, carrying stuff and climbing stuff and but basically 30, a little bit more than a marathon in austere conditions.
Yeah. So how many stations are there where they make you carry, lift, climb, etc.?
That one, there's about 60.
60? 60?
Yeah, 60.
That's a long day all by itself.
Yeah, it's a good long day. It's pretty festive. You got to want it.
And then you add a marathon to it.
Yeah, and you're running the whole time. So some of the stuff's easier than other parts. And last year, when I ran they call it the trifecta weekend, Jim. You like this, right? So you go in on Saturday and you run the half marathon version. And you go in on Sunday and then you run the 10K and then you run the 5K. Now, Spartan is pretty clever, right? They know playing around. It is not a half marathon. It's like 14 and a half miles. In the 5K, it's not 3.5 miles. It's like 4.5 miles. So they tend to have this ability to stretch the definitions of their distances, and I like that.
Yeah.
So I think I did about 31 miles that weekend, and it's different. I'll say if anybody whoever wants to go push it, come do some of the ones in the Northeast or out west in the mountains where you're up and down the elevation. We did this at a ski resort.
Oh my goodness!
Out in New Jersey, in the mountains, and I was kind of tired of those ski hills after a little while. I was like,
they're made to go down. Didn't you get the memo?
Down hurts your knees, though, man. I mean, it probably doesn't if you're 12, but when I'm 57 this month, and this coming month, and my knees don't like down.
Yeah,
my thighs don't like going up. My knees don't like going down.
I mean, down on skis, brother.
Yeah, down on skis. I'll take that all day. That's a lot better.
Right. So I've done some smaller versions of that, mud runs and muddy dashes, and
Super fun.
terrain races and things like that. But I've kind of stayed away from the Spartan because I'm pushing 70. So
It's the trick with Spartan is compared to some other type of events is Spartan you can control your own pain level.
uh-huh.
And so to be fair, don't stress too much for folks out to listen. May want to think, oh, I want to go do this or not. Go do the 5K and just walk the damn thing. Like it's
Yeah.
not. Don't overthink this. Take some friends and help each other through the obstacles. You don't make it. It's not the end of the world. All right. It's just you'll make it to the end of the race, but you don't have to complete every obstacle the right way. It's okay. It's about this pushing yourself to see where your limits are. You'll learn something about yourself out there about mile 2, mile 3,
Yeah.
right? And you're on that obstacle and you're like, wow, I actually just got through that. That's
Hmm.
cool. I just had to push a little harder, and we
Yeah.
take those lessons away and we grow from it.
There you
So
go.
there are other events that you can do where you don't control your own pain, and because there's somebody making you do it, and that's a little different
Yeah.
ball game.
But just get ready to do some burpees.
Yeah, burpees are, it's just a thing. Actually, now to be honest, and some of us have been doing it a while, don't like this much, but you don't have to do the burpees anymore. They have a little run you can do after each one. You got to run a little further.
Okay.
Like they have a penalty loop you got to run. So if burpees are not your thing, and frankly, I don't see too many people in the open heats doing all 30 burpees anyway. So you
And
know, you
nobody's
know,
really counting. It's an
do you
honor
know what the
system.
most? Yeah, you know what the most failed obstacle is? The spear throw. So you
Really?
have to get this spear and throw it into some hay bales from about, like 50 feet away or something.
Uh-huh.
That's actually the most failed obstacle. It's kind of
Wow.
tricky.
But you get 2 chances or 3?
No, you one chance, throw it.
One
I mean, I see
chance.
people up there throwing it for 15 minutes, but it's you're only supposed to try once.
Yeah.
But again, it's that I think like a lot of things in life, Jim, you need to find limits and try and break through those limits.
Sure.
Find out what the next one is and do something that makes you uncomfortable and get better.
All right.
Powerful way to live.
And it really relates when you start to talk about that kind of thing. And you take because a lot of what you do is help people build company culture.
Yeah.
And we're both from the construction industry. And I know as well as you do that perhaps we've got we'll call it an eclectic group of people that come to work every day. And
Amen to that.
and we have to actually form them into something that looks like a team and then get them to execute at a level that is perhaps more than they're used to. How do you do that?
Yeah. So if you start to look at the difference between big construction companies or in any kind of trade contracting work, especially, and the ones who kind of never grow out of their own shadow, it really comes down to two basic things. One, and I'll talk about this first because it's not the one I focus on in my life, is mastering your numbers. You've got to know your
Mhm.
numbers. If you're wrong in construction on your numbers, it's such a low margin business for most trades that you're not long for that world.
Yeah.
You're gonna find yourself in a lot of trouble. So you got to master your numbers. You got to know your job costing. You got to get your financial house in order. The second thing you need to do is you need to build a culture. And in the culture is how you deliver on the quality and the consistency and the production that you're going to need to be able to make money in that low margin business on a somewhat consistent basis.
Mhm.
And how do you grow outside your own shadow? I need my team to do what they're supposed to do if I'm not standing there watching them.
Yeah.
And that a lot of it comes from what's their intrinsic and extrinsic motivation to behave in a certain way, right? And how do I get this team to all care? Right? What is the key to get them to care? What do they want? It's funny. Now they do like money. I'll give you that. And
Yeah.
we I do like to. I can help people understand how to use money to get some of that, but that doesn't get all of it.
Yeah.
And you really want that upper level of performance. You got to start to care about them as people,
Mm.
and not just someone who swings the hammer, someone who turns the wrench, but as a person. What do they want from their life? How do I invest into their dreams and goals? And I think it's a Zig Ziglar thing. If you help enough other people get what they want, you can have anything you want. I think that Ziglar did that one. But
Yes.
I like, and it's hard to do that with a bunch of contractors, right? I mean, Bob looking at you like, what are you talking about? Would you just get out of the way? I got to get in my truck. It's like, or this set of bricks is heavy, and I'm trying to go do some work. You're trying to talk to him about how's the family, He's
Yeah.
like, I'm busy, boss. Whatever. It's heavy. My hands hurt. Tired. Pay me enough. Whatever. It's a tough business sometimes to build culture, but super powerful.
That reminds me, I do a bit of consulting for businesses, and I would tell that guy who's standing there, John, with somebody who's holding a ton of bricks, why don't you pick up some of them and help him
Yeah,
out?
bigger that break, and we can talk at the same time. You hold the bricks and I'll talk.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, exactly. And,
it's
in the construction business specifically, I think what we forget sometimes is that the people who are out in the field, if they don't execute, we don't get to go to the grocery store.
nope.
And so, we should love them like we love our family because they're feeding our family.
Yeah.
And I think that we forget that a lot of times in construction.
They do a dangerous job. They generally have a passion over their trade craft, and you can
Mhm,
lean into that. I think there's a lot of folks who take a lot of pride in the way that they do their work, in the skill set that they deliver, that they develop. It's interesting because there's awareness, I think, in trades today more than maybe any other time, that there's a small subset of men, women, I guess too, but men who can do this stuff anymore.
mhm.
That's not, I think my dad's generation, the percentage of people who could fix stuff was pretty high. Right?
Yeah.
He grew up, in the Depression. He's, born in 33. This is, grew up on a cotton farm in the deep South. This is, they had to know how to fix stuff.
Yeah.
I think the percentage of people who now can fix something is decreasing. And so if you're the guy who can, if you're the woman who can, that's a powerful spot. And I
Oh,
think there's a lot
yeah,
of pride that comes with that.
for sure. We had a generation, a division that had a generator division. They did standby power and sent a kid out to this site, and he calls me back. He says, "Man, you got to come out here. I don't even know what I'm looking at." I'm like, "It's a generator. It's like it's okay. So this is a internal combustion engine that produces a bit of electricity to a stator." And so I'm like, "What do you mean?" He says, "I don't. I've been over my head and got that." So I went out there and he flipped the top up on this old engine generator. And I'm like, "What's the
Yeah.
problem?" He goes, "What is that?" "What is what?" He points at it. There's this thing with wires coming out. I said, "Well, that's a distributor cap. What does that do? I've never seen one before." And I realized that there was really a disconnect
Oh,
between
completely.
what I knew because of history and because of 63 Chevrolets
Yes, sir.
and
Which are distributor
and
cap.
and what he knew because he'd never seen or trained. This is a guy who went through school
Sure.
for diesel, and he'd never seen a distributor cap. It was all EFI, electronic fuel
Yeah.
injection,
So they're
electronic
all
spark.
injected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we have to be able to transfer some of that knowledge, but also the empathy and the understanding that it ain't like it used to be.
Nope. And I think we've got a path in front of our society that's going to be complicated because of that reason. The jobs that we thought were hard, I'm going to be an attorney, I'm going to be a physician, I'm going to be a creative type, that were really
Mhm.
took big brain.
Yeah,
Actually, AI can kind of do all that stuff probably better than they can
yeah,
already. And in 5 years, it's going to be even materially better.
yeah,
So in 10 years, it's going to be ridiculous. My daughter's in vet school right now, and she's learning, she was in this class of reading slides, seeing cancer cells. And they told her, like, you need to know how to do this, but you're not going to do it. AI is going to do it for you because it's better.
hmm
And it's changing. So my on Rock, I keep all my medical records and every blood test I take, and I ask it what I should ask my doctor
yeah.
because it's got everything.
Awesome.
And so in my attorneys, I do all the writing with AI, and then I give it to them to review it.
Yeah,
Right. So what
because they have
exactly?
insurance, not because it's better.
Yeah, we're gonna try, and they may find a detail or whatever. But it's just this idea that so what has value in the coming years? Well, I promise you, if your hot water's not working, the plumber has a whole lot of value.
Yeah,
And so what do I need to pay for? What is a career that's most likely going to reward me as a young person going into the workforce or deciding to go to college or not? You
Yeah.
want to be a millionaire by the time you're 40, a multimillionaire? Go to plumbing school, dude.
Yeah.
You are out of your mind if you go to law school. The only
Yeah.
thing you're going to be at 40 is in debt. You go unless you happen to New York and you land at Goldman Sachs.
Hmm.
Congratulations, big giant law firm. But for the 98% of the rest of the group, you're in debt at 40. You're a plumber. If you want, you're retired at 40.
Yeah.
That's the possibility of the trades today.
I think the thing that it points out that for the last 2 decades, Mike Rowe has been right.
That dude's so spot on. I can't wait. I got to track him down, man. He's like, the guy is spot on.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant guy.
So one of the
Um,
things I love about your story, Michael, is that you are one of those guys who you discovered or you thought of or you developed a better way to do something. And that's where Protiv comes in. That's
yeah.
Protiv. It's a productivity platform that helps construction companies. And then I'll let you fill in the blanks because I'm not smart.
Yeah. No, no worries. I didn't expect you do my whole sales pitch. I'd be really impressed. But it's look, Proto is something that we built for our own construction company originally because we had a problem. We had a problem like a lot of other people who employ hourly workers. That's half the U.S. workforce, by the way. And
Hmm.
the hourly pay is a train wreck of way to pay people. It's just terrible. It's based on time. It's an equation based on
Yeah.
time. Unless time is the thing you happen to sell, what is the value of paying someone on time? What I want to pay you for, Jim, is how awesome you are.
Yeah.
What is the quality of what you do? I want your productivity, your attention to detail, your teamwork, your communication. Right? That's what I want to pay you for. And I'll pay you a lot for that, but I don't really want to pay you much at all for your time because it's not actually valuable to me. What is really valuable to me is you and what you can do with that time. So how do I? So the equation though we're stuck with in this world that we have, the statutory regulatory environment is hourly pay.
Hmm.
So I can't just pivot you over and say I'm just going to pay you based on what you produce. That's not really legal anymore.
Yeah.
It's complicated to make that legal anyway. So if you're a trade contractor and I want to pay my electricians based on what they produce on the project, I've got to then link that to I've got to link my budget to my what gets produced and connect incentives to that.
Yeah.
Turns out that's very, very hard to do. And we built Protiv to use software to manage incentives and KPI tracking for contractors so they could reward their guys in the field for helping us to overperform as a company.
Yeah. So when you talk about that, you're talking about paying someone for making your customer happy
Yeah. So,
because the
and just in case,
quality and safety both roll into those. Somebody
quality,
gets hurt on a
safety,
job site,
communication,
it's just awesome for
all of it.
or awful
It's
for
all,
everybody.
yeah, all these things play into how we are successful. And the way that we approach the architecture of our platform is that the same things that make you successful as a company should be the same things that make them successful as an employee.
Hmm.
If they're different, then you have misaligned objectives and you will suffer for that. So just make them the same. It's not that it's actually is hard to do in a way, but it takes software to do it. We tried doing it in Excel and it just well, that didn't work. But
You
if
got
you
a
got two
bigger
guys,
spreadsheet, does all.
yeah, you can do it. You can do it if you've got 2 or 3 people doing simple stuff. But the minute you've got a bigger team, complex work, different pay rates, you're getting collecting money different times. It just gets complicated. So and you want to be legally compliant with the way you do it. There are rules around this. But I
Yeah.
think that our effort should be on rewarding the people, right? Because that's what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to invest in the people
Mm.
by rewarding them with as much as I can. So I need to make a profit. I'm a capitalist, but I want to pay them for helping me to overperform. And I want them to overperform. And I want them to take ownership of it the way I take ownership of it. I want them to be upset with me if I don't do my part. If I
Yeah.
don't have the materials there with them, they need to storm in my office and ask me if, look, get your act together. You're going to have to find somebody else to do this.
Yeah.
They should be upset with management when management doesn't do their part. And management's upset with them when they don't do their part. We're all okay. All right. Now we're all in agreement. We
Yeah.
all want to do our part. And
We're
we
all
want
going
to,
the same direction, right?
that's at a powerful moment, right? And I think we end up at a better place when we all head in the same direction. It is not always going to work. All right, this
Yeah.
is construction, and sometimes we're just wrong, and sometimes there's a big boulder in the middle of the yard we got to dig up, and Sometimes there's a pipe where it wasn't supposed to be on the drawings, and okay, we're wrong. This is going to take longer than we thought. That's all right. That's all right. We're all, at least we're all attempting to
Mm-hmm.
be successful. And right now, for an industry that's doing 2.5, 3.5% net margin, which is just on the verge of
Yeah,
disaster at all moments, in case anybody's
exactly.
wondering, unlocking another 2 or 3% is the difference between success and failure for many of these guys.
Yeah. One of the things that brings up is the reformation that's kind of got to happen as the labor supply gets tighter and smaller, and as our requirements for them increase, the margins and the risk that we take is expanded. And
Yes, yeah,
industry wide, the margins have to increase, and even subtle increases in that are incredibly impactful to small businesses who are risk takers, and they become the medium sized and large businesses who can
that's
actually
exactly right.
execute. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so risk mitigation. If you were to go, I speak for the giant contractors of the world, the Turners and these big guys out there with thousands, tens of thousands of people. They would most likely tell you the way they make money is risk mitigation.
Hmm.
By de-risking their business, they essentially by self-insurance and other tools that they can employ. That's effectively how, as a large general contractor, they can increase profitability. So, okay, that gives you a sense of how risky things are at the trade contractor level who can't do that, right? I can't self-insure when I've got 45 people.
Yeah.
So it is a challenging piece to how do I de-risk it? It's a litigious environment. You're going to get sued as a contractor, and you've got to protect yourself nonstop against that. So you've
Yeah.
got not just workers' comp challenges, safety kind of elements to it, but also material defect challenges, right? So you don't build something right. There are
Yeah.
states in this country where you can get sued 10 years later, 20
Yeah.
years later because of building defects, right? So you build a house in California. I wouldn't build a house in California if you paid me an almost unlimited amount to do it. It wouldn't matter because someone's going to come and get it later because the earth's going to shift underneath it and it's going to crack in the wall. I got to rebuild the whole house for some homeowner.
Yeah.
It's this impossible legal, litigious regulatory environment that makes it difficult to make money. And
Yeah.
interesting, we're actually slower at building things today, or at least no faster than we were, 50 years ago, 40 years ago. We are safer today than we ever have been.
Hmm.
We do a better job environmentally than we ever have, but it does make it faster. So, on some hands, we have gotten better in some levels, but we've also slowed down a little bit for safety and environmental reasons. Some things don't happen as quick as they may have used to happen.
And that
So,
happens even though our tools are so significantly better.
oh
I
my
mean, if
gosh.
you just think about something as simple as a nail gun versus a guy with a bag full of nails and a hammer.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, isn't it? And yet it takes us, we're actually not better today, statistically at construction. Only about 30% of construction projects finish on time, on budget.
Mm,
So, and 30% of all construction costs is rework. Actually, I've heard numbers be as much as 50% of it is considered waste.
yeah.
50% of all the money we spend, that was like a Association of Architects and Engineers kind of number. 50% of what it takes to build a building is technically waste.
Wow.
You didn't really need that money to do that to build that thing. The world needs 13,000 new buildings per day. That's
Wow.
new stuff. That's not even fixing everything that we already have. Think about the size of that industry, how many people it takes to do that, how many skilled people it takes to do that. We're already 8% short on labor in the United States for
Yeah.
skilled trades.
It's huge. It's huge. So I'm gonna go back a minute. I remember when Barack Obama was president, he said, "Hey, I'm gonna lead from the rear." And that's kind of contrary to your philosophy. You're saying lead from the front, lead from the back, lead from the sides, lead from underneath, and lead from above. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think you have to care fully about your people. Yeah, I want to care. I want to make sure Jim Tracy does a good job at work. I want to. I'm going to pay you for your work, right? You're going to come and do this task. I want you to dig this hole for me, and I'm going to pay
Yeah.
you for that. I need to care about how well you do that. The minute that I'm willing to stand there and dig the hole with you, I'm beside you, that's a whole different level of caring because now you can see my commitment to helping you succeed.
Mhm.
The minute that I am getting you a new tool so that you can be more efficient, right now I'm caring about you as almost a physical way. Like this is a better tool, it won't hurt your back as much, right? The minute that I want you to make sure you're done on time so you can get home to your family, it's a whole different level of caring. How
Yeah.
many different ways can I care about you beyond just you getting that hole dug for me the way I told you to?
Mhm.
And then when we invest in our people at those at that multiple different levels, you get so much more in return.
Yeah.
What then Jim is willing to do for me? Because when I say, Jim, oh my gosh, they just called me, need another hole.
Yeah.
You know, what does Jim want to do? Is he like, well, you can find somebody else or whatever? Is Jim
Yeah.
grumpy about that? Or Jim like, I'm in it, brother. Let's go get it done.
There
I'm
you
like, Jim,
go.
I want to be with you. Let's go. We got it.
Yeah.
You know, that how do you, if you want more from them, then give more to them.
Mhm. I've always said that the only thing that is scalable is people making good decisions. And I use safety as an example of that. If we could actually add regulations that would make everybody obey, we would not need police officers in traffic stripes.
Sure.
And so, but when we make people aware that positive decisions affect them in a positive way, and that's how they take care of their families, and that's how everybody goes home safe. That's how they take care of the compadres. The team goes home safe. Everything. All of a sudden, this wide range of people making good decisions is
Mhm.
eminently scalable, way more than processes, way more than regulations. Is the same thing true across quality standards?
Yeah, quality. It's interesting because a lot of this comes from the way you build your culture.
Mm,
And so I say, well, I want to have some quality in my culture. I want to have safety in my culture. I'm going to have communication in my culture. And so when I look at, and we'll take the quality angle, say, well, what's important to me as a contractor? And one thing I'm going to just diverge for 1 second. Your company culture, when it exists, whether you think it does or not,
mm,
it's the personality of your company,
yeah,
and it needs to be who you really are. If Jim Tracy has a company, it better be Jim Tracy's personality and what is important to him, or frankly, unlikely to survive the night.
yeah,
There's a it needs to be authentic because if it's not authentic, it's not sustainable. You can only fake it for so long. Well, quality is the most important thing, guys. Most important thing. Okay, if it's actually not, if making a profit is the most important thing, eventually you're going to have that job where if we actually go and fix this the right way, boss, we're going to be here for another week. He has a decision to make. Wow, that just made that job unprofitable. I'm going to lose $5,000 that I don't have. I'm going to be a week late getting on to my next job. It's going to hurt that customer. Like, they're, what are you going to do? What is really your company culture?
yeah,
What really matters? Now, maybe it's something more human. Jim says, well, I said, Jim, your family, we're a family here, and you and your family are so important to me. Okay, boss. Well, I know we got to finish this job tonight, but my kid's baseball game starts at 6. Any chance I can get out of here, on time at 5? Well, what am I doing? Am I sending you to your baseball game? Or am I saying, Jim, we got to finish this job tonight. Your kids have
yeah.
another baseball game. What's truly important? How authentic are these
Family
things?
first, bro. Family first. I'm telling you right here, right
Some,
now.
and look, I'm not even judging the person that says, look, as a company culture, we finish our jobs.
Mhm.
And then we get home and take care of our families. So,
Yeah,
okay, that's cool. That's an awesome company culture. If you want to have that, you could probably make a big company. Go get it.
yeah.
Understand whatever it is needs to be true and
Hmm.
authentic. If
Hmm.
you do that, you can build it consistently because it's real,
Yeah,
right? It's not you can't sustain it.
yeah. That's really foundational to what appears to be your leadership approach.
Yeah,
When you founded Protiv, you were still part and are still part of a construction company, correct?
true. Yes,
So when you go out and you're beta testing this technology platform, how do your
it was
people
a mess.
respond to that?
Oh, it was a mess. So my co-founder David had a was called an ugly version of this years back when he was running a little painting thing on a college works painting thing. They were kind of paying people based on on the jobs they got
Mm-hmm.
done. It wasn't really a compliant way of doing it. It was hard to understand, but it seeded in him this idea of we should just pay them based on what they get done. Our company, we were struggling with attention to detail. We needed to finish jobs correctly the first time because rework was really hard on us.
Yeah.
And I needed to finish on time. So they need to do it right and they need to do it on time. And we do large scale multifamily renovation work in New York City. If I don't finish on time, there's somebody moving into that apartment and it creates so much disruption because there's a moving truck out there and I'm still hanging cabinets, all bad.
Yeah.
If I don't do something right, and a simple example, the microwave doesn't turn on, that person, I have to go back and do now an occupied apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And the management company's pissed because now they've got a bad experience with their new resident. Move-in experience, one of the number one predictors of renewal rates for multifamily, so they get really angst about that. So I've got to deliver these projects on time and high quality every
Yeah.
time. Bob, who is my carpenter, he's getting paid by the hour, and I've got 10 hours in my budget, about $400, $40 an hour for my carpenter in New York to hang these cabinets, but I really need it done in one day. So this is my problem. And I need it done right. Those cabinets, they need to be straight and they need to be done right because I can't come back and do rework. So I go to Frank, technically his name is actually Frank, the first guy we did this with, and said, Frank, I will give you the whole $400, but just be done in 8 hours because it helps me stay on schedule. Be done in one day. Don't come back the second day. Just be done at the end of the day. And I'll give you the whole 10 hours worth of money. It's not even that. I already have that in the budget. It's fine. Well, it turns out Frank can do it in about 6.5 hours. Now I think I'm a bad manager because I don't even know how long it actually takes to do some of this stuff. And Frank is super happy because he just made 10 hours worth of money in 6.5 hours. So his salary just went up 34%.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm not sure.
And he made it to the baseball game.
And he makes it basically everybody. I'm like, geez, all right. And he's like, hey, can I just go start another one now? And I'll finish another one. And by the end of the day tomorrow, I'll have a second one done. Like, okay, there's an opportunity here. So you take kind of David's structure that he had, this performance-based thing, this idea, this problem set that we had. We start mashing it together with Excel spreadsheets, trying to communicate it to the team in the field. We learned a whole lot along the journey to where we are today. That's where it came from. Guy hanging cabinets.
That's awesome.
On a tight schedule.
That's awesome. One of the things that makes that awesome is the fact that it took real life application to fill in. And isn't that the name of the game? It doesn't matter what business you're in. If you're filling a need for somebody, it creates its own value.
Yeah, necessity is the mother. And, yeah, and she's a mother sometimes. We're fortunate to live, I think, in a country here where innovation and creativity has an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is, I don't know the entire world's kind of startup ecosystem, but I know here in the US, if you've got a really cool idea, there's a process you can go through to try and raise money for that and develop that and take it to market that is defined. There's a process to it that if you follow it, if you're right, if it's good, you can raise money on it, you can find developers, you can bring this product out. Not that that's not ridiculously hard to do and so much harder than you think it's going to be and fraught with mistakes. And I think 90% of seed companies fail, 75% of Series A companies never have an exit. I mean, it's just because you raise money, and we were able to raise venture capital money, doesn't mean you're going to make it. It's so unbelievably hard to do to turn an idea into a sustainable product. Anybody who's going to, we should do a whole nother podcast on what does it take to take a idea of a product and turn it into an actual software product.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's its own, I wish I had known thing. And the funny thing is I kind of did know, and we still, even knowing is sometimes not enough. Like it is so hard to do.
So how many users do you have who have adopted Protiv as their go-to for
few hundred
enhancing the technology?
Yeah, we have a few hundred companies now. It's interesting because it's really spread across different trades. So we've got everything from mom and pop landscaping companies to large scale commercial electricians, concrete companies, and
Mm,
roofers, painting companies, and renovation companies. It's very trade agnostic. We do a
mhm.
lot of work in the landscaping space, a lot of work in painting because that's kind of where we, in renovations, it's kind of where we started
Yeah,
from. So those were verticals that really needed the solution really quick right out of the gate. It had some traction.
yeah.
We built version 1, which was a mess. We process of throwing that away and we built version 2 we're launching now, which is so much better. Um, it's a $2 million thrown in the trash, but anyway, um, sometimes you get it right. And version 2 is pretty rock solid. It's a
But
big step.
that learning experience that comes from, I mean, how many times you've been running trim and throw the first stick away or save it for the next short piece you need,
Well, I'm going to
et
use a little
cetera, et
piece
cetera.
later. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going to use a little piece later, so I'm going to need that, which I inevitably do because I not swear I can't still read a tape measure right.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm a fair carpenter, but when I work with good carpenters, I just try to stay out of the way because
yeah.
goodness gracious, they're
Those
good.
guys who
You know,
actually can measure one's cut once.
I measure like 3 times, and then they ask me, "How did you get this so far off?" I swear, I got that line.
All right.
Um, yeah, Dad
So
was the hardest about that. My dad was he could measure one's cut once. He could just stare at it and cut right. I mean, it was just like a gift, but yeah, it didn't pass through all the way.
what do you think the future is for the trades right now? Where we stand?
Yeah, I think that we're going to get an influx of talent because I don't think that other jobs are going to be available.
Hmm. I've often
Um,
heard it said that if you don't use AI, you're actually going to work for somebody who does.
well, sure, and so there's a few things. One, I think that trade contractors at scale, as you start to grow, the technology you need to be successful is going to continue to move rapidly forward.
Mhm,
We're building AI tools into Protiv. We never set out to do that, but it's now almost becoming an inevitability.
mhm.
For example, there's a lot of data within your operational tools today. I can analyze your job costing and your profit margins and your G&A, and I can look at your expenses around your materials, and I can tell a lot of things about how your business is running. I can look at data that comes out of our software around how productive your teams are, who are your best crews at doing certain types of work, and who are better at other
Yeah,
types of work. We can analyze that, but AI can do all that better and faster.
yeah,
So what I'm really looking at is how do I take AI and analyze large volumes of data and allow you to compare how you're doing within your company, across your teams, across your types of work you do,
mhm,
and then what if I could benchmark you against others? Say, well, look, for some reason, when you guys do your foundations, you're 12% higher on cost than the market average. And
mhm.
when you guys are running conduit, you're spending 10% more, or your efficiency is actually 5% ahead of market. And if you want, you've actually got a pricing opportunity there.
Yeah.
If you need to win a few more bids, there's data within our operational tool sets, our accounting and our job costing and our productivity management that we can use to know more about our business, figure out where the opportunities lie. And the best contractors are going to lean into that.
Yeah. Well, I think, that information has always been there, but the ability to generate it quickly so it's usable on
Yeah,
virtually
real
an
time.
instantaneous basis is
Yeah.
essential.
Yeah, it's existed there. And the funny thing is, but we didn't know how to get to it very well. Remember, I started my plumbing company, I started my roofing company because I was a good roofer, not because I was an
Yeah.
MBA. Right. So at some point, you have to translate all this number into an actionable thing.
Hmm.
Well, what if I didn't need the MBA? The AI just did that for me. It
Yeah.
just tells me what to do. It just says, please make sure that Bob is your crew lead when you promote your next one because he's your most efficient team
Yeah.
member. Well, please make sure that Jim Tracy, doesn't work for you anymore because that dude's slow, and whatever,
You
right?
might get that one.
You're going to find pieces of information in there that you wouldn't otherwise easily see. In fact, here I'll give you a vision of pricing in the future. Right now, in the investment venture capital dollars are flowing into construction technology. a huge portion of that money is going into development of tools to help price materials more efficiently. If I'm buying brick or I'm buying air handlers or any kind of materials, I right now have my set of vendors, a few guys here in my market that I may get that materials from.
Mhm.
What if I could get my materials from any vendor anywhere?
Yeah.
The problem with that today is I've got to make 475 phone calls. I
Mhm.
can't do that, or send 500 emails. AI can.
Yeah.
AI can go and find out where the best price on that material is anywhere. And it may be more efficient for me to get that material, to get that siding, to get that, software, whatever that material is that I'm looking to install somewhere else.
Including
And
freight, drop ship to the
powerful,
site. Here you go. Boom.
powerful, right?
Yeah.
So if I can do that, and maybe I'm going straight to the manufacturer now because they can drop ship it to me. They
Yeah.
were shipping it anyway. They're going to ship it to my job site. I like that.
There you
So
go.
but 40% of our cost in construction is roughly materials across all trades. About 40% is labor.
Mhm.
What's interesting about that is that the amount of money flowing into solving the labor problem in our industry is like zero. I mean, my company's got some venture capital in, but there's very, very little money, venture capital money flowing into construction tech to solve the labor problem, even though it's just as big a problem. So what happens is we stabilize our material acquisition costs. They were never that bad to begin with. I mean,
Yeah.
they can be better, but you're moving the margin a few percentage points when I stabilize material procurement. If I'm a contractor, my biggest variable cost is almost always my labor. That
Yeah.
bounces all over, but it's a hell of a crazy number. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. What if I could stabilize my labor number? Man, we're down a road that's really powerful. If I could actually tell you what you should, because it's a triangle between what are you charging, what are you paying, what are you keeping,
Mhm.
your labor, right? And
Yep.
you're just going to move within that triangle, right? How much I want to pay Bob? How much can I charge the ABC company to do this work? And how much of that am I able to move over to my profitability? Kind of. So, how much should I pay Bob? Well,
Yeah.
what if I know what the going rate is for that role in my market for this job? What if I know that number? And what if I know what people actually charge for that role in this market to these contractors? Now I've got data on which to base my labor number, not just on whether I have a truck payment due next week. Or I've just made so much money in the last one, or Bob's arguing he needs a raise.
Yeah.
Because all the emotional things that go into my labor pricing today, because it's my only variable part. So it's the one I move around when I'm not sure. I don't move my material costs.
Well,
I
and
move my
even when you think about it, materials do not create rework.
yeah,
Materials by themselves are just, they're neither good nor bad. They're just
it's
materials.
there. It's a line
But,
item.
but labor who butchers materials cre- creates a need for more materials or a need to
Sometimes.
reinstall the materials that were put up properly in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're down a path where we believe that at some point in the future we're going to be able to help companies predict using AI what labor costs should be, what they should charge for it, and what they can then make in a margin in between there. And that will be game changing for I mean truly monumentally game changing for
Yeah.
contractors.
That is
So
so
it's
awesome.
yeah.
That is so awesome. Well, I would like to thank you for coming on. And where do people find you and Protiv?
Yeah, protiv.com, Protiv, Michael at protiv.com. If they just want to email me, if they want to come run a Spartan race one day, or if they want to, you know, understand, if they want to, I don't know, they want to go sailing. I like to sail.
Ultra, man.
Yeah, we're going to the Ultra next year. It's
All
just,
right.
I'm going to probably walk a lot of the Ultra next year. But
Okay.
I might run some of it.
Sounds good.
Come
Well,
on, Jim.
you have lived a big life, and there is someone who is a champion in your life who has made such a significant difference and affected your journey in such a way that you got to give them pouch right now. Who is that?
Yeah, I got to go to my wife right now. And I like getting married. I've been married a few times. My wife today is she is a rock star. She has not it's not just a level of support, it's a level of commitment to my journey as
Uh-huh.
I am committed to hers. We both own companies and we both work in each other's company. So she's an employee in mine and I'm an employee in hers. And I work a lot of hours helping her company be successful. She comes to my trade shows because she knows our story and she talks to contractors and talks to them about what we do. She's a great salesperson. She's really good
Very
at it.
cool.
And I got to give her so much credit. We would have had a bumpier road without her
Mhm.
free labor. Oh, yeah, okay. She mentioned that she didn't get paid to do it, but she's an employee who doesn't get paid, and vice
Buddy,
versa.
there's no such thing as free,
But
man. It's going to
yeah, I
cost you one
agree.
way or the other.
Yeah,
And what's her name?
her name is Amel.
Amel,
Amel.
thank you for being a hero and thank you for being a champion in Michael's life. And thank
You
you,
never know,
Michael.
Jim. Sometimes, and she's a Jordanian born. If you told me I'm a New Yorker, if you told me a Southern white Baptist kid is gonna come find a happy spot with a, Middle Eastern New Yorker who's loud and fun and like wow, okay, like whew, a lot of energy there.
Right on.
Who knew, right? And I don't know. God has a plan for us.
None of
Good thing.
us. And you're better off for it, right?
Amen. Every day.
There you go. All right. Well, man, thanks for coming on the Grampian. We appreciate you. Good luck with Protiv. And if there's anything you ever want to do out in Idaho, come out and visit.
Jim, I'll do that, man. I'm gonna come up there for sure. You
All
take
right.
care.
All right. Grampian Nation, you keep dreaming those Grampian sized dreams. And don't forget, if you're in the construction business, look up Protiv.com. This is Jim, and I am out.
When you get an opportunity, subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcast.